see. Oh, what the world has come to be. I am surrounded by a group of sheep.
What is going on, guys? It's Adam aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we are going to talk about everything regarding Earth and the defense of it and everything else. So we'll be right back right after this. Imagine an Earth without humans.
Surprised they can't see. Oh, what the world has come to be. I am surrounded by a group of sheep.
Remember, nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of myself, Dex, or anyone else on the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. All right, what is going on, guys? My name is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot on our plate. We are actually working on our phone system, so disregard the phone number down there. I should just turn it off for today. This week, we are trying to improve the phone system to get in more callers. And then, of course, we have a lot to talk about. So, again, normally you would call 224-400-MARF. Do not today. Let me actually get rid of that real quick. And then, of course, move this. Bam, bam. All right, thank you, guys. Reminder, everything we say here is going to be backed up with a bibliography, so you know exactly where you get your stories. In fact, we take the time before every single show. If we show you a document, a tweet, a video, a picture, or an article, it's all going to be available on Marfoogle News. In fact, marfooglenews.com is where you can access all of this and more, including web-only content. Now, once you'll see it's organized by thumbnail, so it's very easy to get to today's show. Just go to this thumbnail and then click on it. You will actually see that we have every single article, every tweet there. And then on top of that, at the very bottom, normally the callers would be, there's actually web-only content. So this is too hot for TV, stuff that basically is so charged that they won't let on platforms without marking you permanently. Thanks. And then on the right side, if you do want to support us in any way, if you want to do a PayPal during the show, you can get your comment read out and help the channel at the same time. You can do so. All of the links are on the right side, including EMP Shield, NordVPN, and all of our other affiliates. Those end up helping the show. At the same time, you end up getting discounts from each and every one of them. So let's bring in Dex. Dex is my co-host / internet brother. What is going on, Dex, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
So, to get right into it, we, of course, have FB is developing its own city near Silicon Valley. This is pretty nuts, but I wouldn't expect any less from the Monopoly man here. It says, welcome to Zuckerville. FATEM is developing its own city near Silicon Valley headquarters, complete with 1,700 apartments, a supermarket, hotel, and new offices. FB is expanding its social media empire by developing its own city right next to its Silicon Valley headquarters. Mark Zuckerberg's social network has 2.9 billion users, is now planning to build a real-life community called Willow Park on a 59-acre site in Menlo Park, California. It says that FB and Signature Development Group are behind the proposed plan for the new city. The most recent plans, which were updated in May, show the development will be built where a single-use industrial and warehouse complex currently stands. Pretty nuts. It says FB already owns several of the existing buildings on the site. So they're basically, these are the big bad men that you see in every, family movie where, there's the big bad developer that's trying to buy up the whole block, and there's always that one old guy that just won't leave and says, I'm not leaving my house, you're going to have to kill me. And, of course, the plot of the movie is that they kill him or try to. I don't know if it's exactly like that, but again, This is absolutely nuts. These companies, these tech oligarchs literally have so much money, they're building their own cities for their employees. I think that we're going to cover in just a little bit here. There's a suit by 36 states towards one of the other oligarchs. It is absolutely insane to me that over the last 10 years, certain companies have more power than governments in the world right now. And I mean a lot more power. We're talking about there are world leaders here that are less powerful than, say, the CEO of this company. In fact, there are smaller companies in this that have more power than most of the governments of the world. That is insane to anyone. I think everybody, I don't understand how we did this. We enabled it, though. Almost all of us did. I know that you had a MySpace or probably had a Facebook. All of us had this. So we all kind of gave into it and we all let it happen. There might be a couple of you that are like, hey, I never had one. Good for you. I really do mean that. I'm not being sarcastic. This is absolutely incredible. It says that it will feature 1,700 apartments, including about 320 that will be affordable housing, and up to 120 units designated for senior housing. So they're even planning for the long haul. Again, affordable. So are they going to have a Section 8? Section Facebook or something? Section Face, right? It says the city will be built between Bellhaven and East Palo Alto, which is heavily populated Hispanic neighborhood. The housing units will not be exclusively for Facebook employees. A number of the non-affordable housing units, however, will likely be taken up by Facebook employees. Again, they said non-affordable. So these are expensive housing units that are going to their, special people. I bet you this will be a very stuffy and stuck up and very One Direction type of neighborhood. It says, however, will be likely taken up by these Facebook employees. The company made several headlines years ago when they started offering staff more money if they lived within 10 miles of the campus, which, by the way, Amazon here actually followed suit. A lot of companies actually did. Expedia, a few others. They basically said, if you live close, we'll give you a higher pay rate. I mean, that's pretty awesome, right? Well, in Seattle, it totally screwed us. In fact, it's going to screw these little Hispanic neighborhoods up, I'm just assuming, because guess what happened here? When they said, hey, you'll get paid more if you live closer instead of farther away, which most of these people that were working at Amazon at very first, they were living way out of the city and commuting an hour and a half because the prices inside the city were already high, and you could get like an affordable, awesome price on a house and all of that about an hour and a half away. And then, of course, all of these guys are making $10,000 a month. And I'm literally saying like almost all of them are making at least that. Then they could save money and whatever else. But when they did this, then all of a sudden they swooped in downtown. Well, that made everything within Seattle, and this works for really any state that has a big company like this now. It absolutely annihilated anybody like me. At the time when this first started, I'm working I'm working two jobs. One of them was 5 days a week, basically 8 a.m. to, I would sometimes come home at 1 a.m. I mean, I would come home it was a 13-hour job. Then my other job was a 9 to 5 that I would go basically in between, and I would do night shift stalking. So I was doing just crazy stuff just to make it by, and they started raising rents one year after another. And I mean, it was just giant leaps, 40%, 60%, to the point where in Seattle, to live anywhere near Seattle, it is on average for a 1-bedroom apartment, $2,100. Now, some argue and debate if it was $1,900 or the average is $1,900. I don't think that, that really matters much. $1,900 for a 1-bedroom apartment. In fact, I think $1,700 or $1,800 was the average for a studio. That means you pee in the same room that you cook your breakfast. So if that sounds insane to you because you're in Texas or somewhere else, yes, it is. And it's all because of these tech oligarchs. It says a number of these non-affordable housing, of course, will go to the fancy people. The plans for the new city will also feature a supermarket, pharmacy, cafes, and restaurants, and a 193-room hotel, which, of course, has Wi-Fi. But it's not free. You have to sell your soul. The 200,000 square feet of planned retail space will be built around a 1.5-acre town square. Separate to the town square will be a 4-acre public park, a 2-acre elevated park similar to New York City's High Line, and other public open spaces. In addition to the housing and retail spaces, Facebook will also plan to have 1.25 million square feet of new office, meeting, and conference room space for the social media company. Yeah. So these guys have way too much money. Absolutely insane.
So while this is being built, not much is going to happen, right? There's all this construction. This will take a couple years, et cetera, right? But what's going to come out? We're going to start hearing about all of these new things that Facebook is inventing, whether or not you like them or don't like them, and how they apply to cities. Because now they're going to have a city, and before you know it, they're going to have, interactive things that are going to be happening, tracking, monitoring, all sorts of new technology. They're going to use their city there to model it out. And it'll probably be pretty creepy knowing Facebook, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is probably going to be one of the most monitored blocks in the world. And look at the weird shape of it. It almost looks like, actually... It could look like an eye or a baseball field, but it almost looks like the outline of a Masonic symbol there. Very strange. But actually, if you look at this, look at how the buildings are built to look like an eye. I'm telling you, just turn this just a little bit, and you have kind of like the eye of whatever it's called. Is that really on purpose, or is that on accident? I mean, come on. Look at that. In fact, it looks like an eyeball. That is just freaky. I don't think you noticed that, Dex.
I see the all-seeing eye right there.
Isn't that freaking weird?
Yeah.
That is creepy.
Just a quarter clockwise turn, and you got it.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. That is creepy. I just noticed that.
That's their headquarters, right? So that's already done.
That's the top of the pyramid, right? Pretty nuts. And then, of course, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates divorce. Microsoft founder may buy ex-wife out of their foundation. What the heck is really going on with these two? It says in May, Bill and Melinda announced via Twitter that they were splitting up after 27 years of marriage because the two, quote, no longer believe they can grow together as a couple. That's a very nice way to say, I'm sick of this mom. It says Mark Seismic, the chief executive officer or CEO of the Bill and Foundation, has announced a contingency plan to, quote, ensure the continuity of the foundation's work. It says the announcement comes about after 2 months after the multi-billionaire entrepreneur and his wife announced their divorce plans, pledging, however, that they would keep working together at the charity foundation. So it's going to be the Bill and Estranged Foundation now, apparently. It says, if after 2 years either decides they cannot continue to work together as co-chairs, French Gates will resign her position as co-chair and trustee. That is absolutely incredible. He added that under such a scenario, Gates would remain in control, essentially buy his ex-wife out of the foundation. That's just unbelievably nuts. It says, and for her part, would receive personal resources from her former husband for her own philanthropic work, something that would be completely separate from the foundation's endowment, according to Seismic. The CEO also announced that the couple had committed $15 billion to the foundation's endowment in addition to the breakup contingency plan. So they actually planned for a possible breakup. The developments follow Warren Buffett, one of the foundation's major investors, resigning from his role as a trustee in June without specifying why he had decided to do so. It says, quote, my goals are 100% in sync with those of the foundation, and my physical participation is in no way needed to achieve these goals, Buffett, a longtime friend of Mr. Bill, pointed out. So do you think, and I'm gonna do a quick poll here, and I want you to put the answer, if you're watching the replay, put the answer down in the comments below. Do you believe that something more is going to come out on Mr. Bill? I don't see too many theories that say that the wife is going to have something come out on her. I have seen a lot of people speculating that there is further news. And the reason why is Warren, of course, leaving, and all of these other smaller employees that we haven't seen very much big news about, but they're all quietly stepping aside. Maybe they don't want to take the brunt of it when something actually goes down. Now, what could we find out? Well, more stuff could come out. Who knows? We could see an X tape come out on the internet. Who knows? We could see, pictures come out. We don't want to see
that.
No one wants to see that. I'm just saying, if it does happen, then I'm sure there's somebody who would. Yeah, let's just. Haiti's future uncertain after brazen slaying of the president. This was done, I believe. Wasn't this done in the midday? Pretty crazy.
I think it was in the middle of the night they went in.
Okay. And they said that they were DEA.
Exactly. It was a lot of people went through. It was like a swarm of people went in.
It says an already struggling and chaotic Haiti stumbled into an uncertain future on Thursday, reeling from the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. It says, followed by a reported gun battle in which authorities said police took out 4 suspects in the murder, detained 2 others, and freed 3 officers being held hostage. Now, again, these were Spanish-speaking people who were pretending to be DEA agents, or at least that's what they told the neighborhood when they were going in. They said, hey, stay away, we're DEA, it's all good, it's okay. Of course, they went in a big group. It said the pursuit of the mercenaries continues, Leon Charles, director of Haiti's National Police, said Wednesday night in announcing the arrests of suspects. Their fate is fixed. They will fall in the fighting or be arrested. Now, I don't think that this was a revolution or something civil. I think that this is one of the other world governments, possibly our own here in the U.S., that went in there with specialty people. These guys were most definitely after, they have an agenda here, and they went in with the proper equipment. They got to the president. Now, this isn't a U.S. president. This isn't the French or Canadian president. They don't have the same kind of security, but they do have a massive security presence there. So this was a president of it. It wasn't, it's not the U.S., so it doesn't have snipers on the roof or whatever. It actually could, but they wouldn't be the same quality, right? But this was done in incredibly well. Too skilled to not be a government.
Absolutely. And it's also being reported now that 2 of the people are Haitian Americans. So that means that they have American citizenship. So we don't know what the ties are for those 2 people that are being detained.
Yes. And there are sleeper cells in every country that are ours, just as there are sleeper cells here that are from all these other, there's Mossad, there's KGB, there's all there's all of these different MI6. There are agents all over the world from every country, kind of embedded into their society. So just because they were Haitian doesn't mean anything to me. I would think that we just as well may have a whole Haitian factor of CIA or NSA or whatever over there. What do you think, though? Let me know in the comments below. Total Vagabond.
You know what else?
Go ahead.
Sorry, Adam, real quick. One other thing that's really interesting, because people may not know how the government works there, but according to their government, I believe the president would be replaced by the Supreme Court. But just before this, the Chief Justice had actually died from CV. So now they're sort of up in the air about who's going to run the country. So that's also adding to the consternation going over there.
And it said that she said it was important for the U.S. President JB to take a much more active role in supporting attempts at national dialogue in Haiti with the aim of holding free, fair, and credible elections. So they put this interim guy in. There is now a void, and the country is scared about what will end up happening. So
timing is everything, right?
Exactly.
So this was obviously planned, but the timing was perfect because it left this huge vacuum. Again,
the Chief Justice just passed away, allegedly from the CV, leaving open the question of who might rightfully succeed to the office. So, do you think it was any accident that he, he was gone and then he's gone and there's nobody who is to take it? I would be really looking suspiciously at that third in command that takes the reins there. Pretty weird. Again, this kind of stuff happens in other governments all the time. It was pretty surprising last year when a lot of this kind of third world type of stuff happened here in the United States. But, Total Vagabonds, thank you so much. Granny C, thank you so much. And Total Vagabonds from Europe, I appreciate you can always write something there if you like. And thanks for the super sticker. Granny C, thank you as well. I appreciate your support. Thank you for supporting Independent. Marietta Davis says, happy early show. Yes, we have, like I said, we have some sick kids, so we're trying to work around so we can possibly get everybody to sleep earlier tonight. The show will not be this early every night, just a couple times here and there where we have to move things around. And then Amy Z, thanks Marf and fam. Thank you. Thank you guys for supporting. Really appreciate it. Like I said in the post earlier, I really do appreciate the people that go above and beyond. There's quite a few of you, and honestly, it was just me. Eventually, I would love to see that it was me, Dex, and 10 other people here. So thank you so much for helping us grow. I really do appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm blessed to have any of you, let alone all of you. So thank you. So Haiti is in a really weird spot right now, and I'm sure that it has something to do with the greater, bigger picture. But that's, again, right now we're in the place where we're putting all these puzzle pieces together. This is why you watch mainstream. I've said it before. People say, these guys just cover mainstream media. First of all, we have our web-only content, which we also cover on our website. But when you look at mainstream media, you can look at any event and then go back. And that's why we archive this. When you go to our website and see every show back, you can just search a word of any subject. So say LV, Vegas, right? You can search Vegas and it will bring you up all the shows that we did on that. It will bring you all of the articles. And I guarantee you, before every event, there was some sort of prediction or some sort of piece to the puzzle that said, wow, why didn't we see this happen? How many times have we seen an event happen here in the United States or around abroad the world that we basically said, oh my gosh, I can't believe we didn't see this coming? There were signs a month before. There were signs 4 months before. There were signs a year before. Just like every Bang Bang event, it's like they say, this guy had 3 priors, and just last week, he actually called into the police and told them he was going to do it, but we didn't do anything about it. It's like there's always predictions out there, and that's why we cover all of this. And remember to use that website for a reference. You can use keywords, and then it will pull up all of the stories regarding it. And I guarantee you'll see the pattern. So right now with Haiti, I think Haiti is a puzzle piece. Go ahead.
And watch for China or Russia to step in and try to build relations with Haiti.
We'll see. It says presidential presser cut short after Typhoon jets have to scramble to intercept Russian planes. This is just yesterday. Russian planes were just scrambling to get ours, and the day before that, it was U.S. scrambling to get Russia. This is absolutely crazy. It says the Lithuanian and Spanish presidents had to abandon their press conference in a hurry while the jet behind them scrambled out of a hangar. Are you kidding? Wait, so Dex, remember how they said that the DEA agents were Spanish speaking? What if it's not even us involved? It's like Lithuania or Spain or something. Spain is actually going after Haiti because Haiti is in Russia's pocket or something. This is nuts. Yeah, I know that's crazy, but it's literally the jets behind them had to be hurried out. Like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, talk about coincidence of setting up your stage, right?
So this is the presidents in front of a jet, and they're like, oh, we got to scramble jets. Move out of the way, buddy. We got to take this out. It says a visit to a Lithuanian airbase by Spain's President Pedro Sanchez and his Lithuanian counterpart Gitanas Nausėda was all set to include the two leaders speaking to the press in front of a Spanish Air Force Eurofighter Typhoon jet deployed to the country on a rotational NATO air policing mission. However, in an impromptu demonstration of the Air Alerts facility's readiness, Nausėda had to break off his address as the jet was prepared to scramble to intercept Russian aircraft approaching NATO's Baltic territories. Tell me that there isn't something bigger going on here. Dex, that's like freaky.
Well, even freakier is if Russia knew that there was only a jet or two at that location and that this press conference was going on, and they're like, "We're gonna troll them. Watch us troll them in real time. We'll fly nearby and have them scramble their jets and ruin their press conference."
You know what that would also do is if they go, okay, well, we have a theory that they only have one or two of these type of jets, and if they do that. And it literally forces the president to stand aside while they take that jet out to respond to Russia. That's sad. That's like a really sad presence there. It says the press conference was taking place at Sinola Air Base, Lithuania, earlier today as part of the Spanish president's 3-day visit to the Baltic states, including checking on the Spanish Armed Forces contingent deployed as part of the NATO mission. So... again, to help defend these countries. It says, while Nausėda was speaking in a hangar, a pilot could be seen racing up the ladder into a Typhoon jet in the background. That then explained that a live scramble had begun and the officials and their lecterns began to move out of the way to let the jet depart the hangar. So you've got two presidents, and you're saying they didn't grab all of the other jets, right? Oh, wait, there's only one or two there. So they got to use that one. It's like, use any other jets. Don't use the one right behind the president. That's weird. That's just weird. Again, this is a picture of a Typhoon jet. So this was no joke of a jet. So... Speaking of preparedness, while we still have a good amount of people here, I want to thank everybody from last night that popped in and was being really positive. I know that we had a couple negative people in the chat. Just a word to the wise. If you're new here, and there's a lot of new people now, make sure that you understand that general chat rules is we do not put anybody else down. I've never done a hate video on other YouTubers. I don't talk about other YouTubers or other people, even if they're talking about me. I don't talk smack, and I appreciate that most of my OG Foogle fam, they know that they don't do the same. Again, we don't talk badly about other people. We even try not to talk badly about certain, politicians or people that we dislike. We try to keep it to where we're pushing and lifting each other up. And that's really hard to do in a day and age where everything is downers, especially when we cover some of the really kind of scary stuff that we can't cover. So just remember that. On another note, I would like to remind you guys, if you have not already, I would highly recommend looking into EMPs and preparing for them. One of our affiliates, and again, one of our main sponsors, is EMP Shield. So make sure to go check this out. If you have not protected your home, your car, your generator, your solar system, your RV, your motorcycles against EMPs, we will show you, again, more information on top of what we've already shown you of why we think you should. We've partnered up with EMP Shield because, again, one day I think that people will either thank us or, again, hopefully they'll have a place to thank us on. But also I think this might save lives. Again, you can go and get protection against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3 at EMP Shield. Again, marfooglenews.com/EMP. And it also protects you against the natural kind. So if we have another Carrington event or a natural solar flare or CME, that will also protect your devices. The car is the most popular. That can be put in about 5 minutes. I put mine in myself in literally 6 minutes. So anybody can do it if I can do it. Again, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, and then you also get $50 off when you use our promotion. Again, when you use that link, not only will it be helping the channel, it will also give you a discount as well. Dex, on this next one, we have the U.S. threatens to act if Russia fails to deal with ransomware hackers on its territory. It's kind of what we were covering yesterday.
Yeah, and real quick, I just want to make sure you saw a jet flew in.
No, I did not. Holy moly. Hold on. Cynthia Lynn says, hope everyone gets better quickly. Thank you, Cynthia Lynn. I appreciate you, and thank you for supporting Independent. Again, Stormy Weather says, love catching y'all live. And then Sammy Lee says, and much love to you and your family, Adam, Dex, Matt, Mods, and Foogle family. I'm on a 16-month sub streak. Sammy Lee, that is incredible. That means you've been here the entire time since I started D-Live. That is incredible. Thank you so much, and thank you for the getting that Marfia badge 16 months in a row. That's incredible. Bear Claws, Truth Wins, Heaven's Calling, and of course Sandra in Texas is here as well and is near. But again, Cynthia Lynn, thank you so much for supporting Independent. Your support cannot, again, there are a few that go above and beyond. Cynthia Lynn, you are one of them. Multiple times you've been on that leaderboard, so thank you so much. Now, Dex, as far as this goes, the U.S. threatens to act if Russia fails to deal with this. What is he going to do?
Yeah, I mean, look, this is crazy. We keep taking this position. And it's a very weak position. It's like, well, we know we say Rebel did it, right? But we are not going to say Russian did it. And we say we're going to do something if Russia did it, but we can't really tell if Russia really did it. Right. And we know Rebel's a Russian group, but it's not necessarily part of the government. So it's like this wishy-washy stance from our own administration saying, well, yeah, if I can tell Putin did it, then I'll do something. But since I can't really tell he did it, I'm not really going to do anything about it. And it's kind of crazy. And this, so they want to put out these statements. They want to say, we'll handle it, or I'll deliver the message, or, we're going to, push back if they did something to us, but they can't come out and just say whether or not it was really done by them, or if they will even stand behind the notion that says if you support a group in your country that's doing that, then the country should be responsible, right? They're not even standing behind that right now.
Which right now a lot of people are mad because they need to take a tough stance if it's going to stop, but I guarantee you it's not, because this is all part of some bigger plan for something that they're doing. And obviously these hacks are to get it into the people's general minds that almost anything can be hacked now. I don't know what the big game is here, but for these ransomware attacks, Dex, how long have ransomware attacks been around?
No, we've been talking about them, in mainstream for a couple of years. And when I say, mainstream, I mean like towards bigger companies or, municipalities, things like that. They actually started on individuals before then. And when they first got started, it was just like it would lock your laptop, and you're like, get the screen on your laptop that say, if you want to get to your laptop, send $100 bucks, or whatever in crypto to this place. But then that sort of went away when they realized, making $1,000 here, $1,000 there isn't really paying the bills when they can get millions out of these big companies.
Well, and again, it's like, why are we all of a sudden seeing this just out of nowhere? Everywhere, everything is getting hacked, and people say that it's not related to SolarWinds. I would think that this is all connected.
Yeah, it absolutely is. This whole notion of cyber conflict has been growing significantly over the years and is really big this year. We're hearing about it more and more. We've seen the effects of it, whether it's on our own pipeline, on meatpacking plants, or in the effects of something like SolarWinds, which hit all of these companies, 18,000 plus companies, including all forms of the government, all forms of DoD, every branch of the military, the Pentagon, everyone was affected. And you've got the hacks with the email systems, where all of the emails have been, that anybody that used Microsoft's email platform was hacked as well, right? So there's no telling how much information has been pulled.
911 systems, satellites with GPS.
Yep.
Those were hacked. The Microsoft 365 hack that you talked about, which actually affected hospitals as well. They had to stop or not do operations that the people were on the table because they could not do the proper logging and do the proper stuff required to do that. They couldn't log into software that actually accessed, some of the technology they used to go inside somebody. Some of this, there was a couple surgeries where they actually had to leave somebody open. This is what I heard after that. This was, what was that, like 8 months ago, 9 months ago or something? It doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but I think it was.
Well, and also think about like the email hack. If just take one example, take one company that maybe has 50,000 employees. If they were able to take millions of emails out of that platform, that can be a treasure trove of information, right? But when you're dealing with a small hacking group that's probably, a handful of people, right? How do they go through millions and millions and millions of pieces of information? It takes a long time for them to actually find stuff. Remember how long they even spent back in the days of Assange looking through all that stuff to try to find anything in those piles of emails that were actually meaningful and useful, either in the press or useful for other ways, right? So we're going to see a lot more trickle out on the things that have happened over the last 2 years, because that data is just sitting there behind the scenes somewhere and somebody's going through it.
Well, we'll see what happens. And then, again, I want to see what the symbology of this, they call them Revil or Re-Evil or R-Evil. I wonder if that, is there any public significance to that? Did they say why they named them Revel or Re-Evil? Why is the Re part capitalized in this? R-Evil, liver. Liver is it spelled backwards? Liver. Because evil is live, or is it live, ER? I don't know. I just wonder what the hell is really going on. Is this CIA or some branch of somebody doing it to ourselves? I don't know. The whole Russia-U.S. thing, it's the tit for tat is pretty alarming. How blatant that this is, just like stupid. How do they commit so many resources to something that they don't even show us proof on? I don't get it.
Its name is an amalgam of ransomware and evil, according to one of the engineers.
These guys are corny. Russian fleet monitoring U.S. Navy ship Yuma in the Black Sea. It says the U.S. Sixth Fleet said earlier in the day that its expeditionary fast transport, the USNS Yuma, had been sent to the Black Sea. The Russian Black Sea Fleet is monitoring U.S. Navy vessel, the Yuma, which has entered the Black Sea, the National Defense Management Center announced on Thursday. Western countries are currently conducting the Sea Breeze 2021 military exercise in that Black Sea, which includes 5,000 servicemen, 40 aircraft, 32 vessels from 32 countries. So basically, this is the same place that they said that if Royal Navy came back, they would drop booms on. And now they're like, F you, we're doing NATO Sea Breeze, we're doing it here, we're going to roll in with our 87 Regal, and we're going to park right in front of your house.
It's daily. Have you not noticed, like every single day, it's something new in this area? Every day, we've reported this. Every show, we've reported numerous incidences of a different thing, whether it's an airplane, whether it's a ship, and they're just doing it over and over again on both sides.
And on our end, we are having Hawaii and the South China Sea, and of course, our certain parts they're coming over and bugging us. So we're just waiting for this to turn into a flashpoint. That's everybody thinks that it's always going to just be fixed, that they're always going to call each other and everything is going to be okay. Savannah Sushi, thank you for the diamond. I appreciate that. Thank you for hosting with 18 viewers. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I can't say thank you enough for that is a huge compliment to host somebody. It looks like Joker's mom also hosted. Thank you so much. Joker's mom, I appreciate that for both of you to host. That's a big deal. On D-Live, it's a family thing. So thank you. Item 09, I appreciate the lemons there. Truth Wins, Northern Joseph, Jaybird, Happy Camper, Scooby-Doo Do-Right, and Vault 111 is here. Thank you so much for stopping in. Let's see here. Almost 3,000 over on YouTube. I want to say thank you to a very special person out there. Let's see. Susan, if you're watching, I appreciate you. I really do, and it was nice meeting you in person. The time is now here for the live show. Thank you so much. The time is now. I appreciate that super chat. And then Kyoko Wong. I've never seen your name before, so welcome. Christina Noemi, thank you for subscribing. Sunny531, thank you for the super chat as well. I appreciate that. Amy Z, again, cannot say thank you enough. Thank you for supporting Independent. Taiwan asks U.S. not to cause misunderstanding after the flag tweet was removed. Now, what the heck was going on with this, Dex? Now, you kind of watched this on Twitter as it happened.
So they tweeted, the CV response team made a tweet regarding the Vs, and we're talking about shipping them and which countries participated, et cetera, et cetera. And in the process, they included a flag of Taiwan in the tweet. And then, of course, the president of Taiwan retweeted that tweet and said it was, thank you to the U.S. for your generosity. Together we'll, beat this, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then as soon as that happened, then they deleted the tweet. And, of course, then everyone speculates the reason they're deleting it is because the government can't acknowledge or is not supposed to acknowledge Taiwan. Even though we try to support them, we're not supposed to acknowledge them. And so this is turning into sort of a bigger public relations thing as it relates to what do we say publicly as a country regarding Taiwan versus not.
And remember, China just was quoted in saying that we will basically take out anybody that goes, that basically says that Taiwan is independent, that stands in the way of them not being reunified. Anybody, in fact, one of those quotes was like that China said, anyone who is for Taiwanese independence is an enemy of ours. So there's a lot to be said about this whole thing. And again, we've covered this for now 2 weeks, just specifically kind of some of the things that have been going on Twitter and how there's been misunderstandings, and it is a big, bad thing to say that Taiwan is its own thing. Very, very odd stuff. And then we have 36 states, D.C., sue the Oogs for alleged antitrust violations in its Android App Store. Now, we, of course, are a big, a bigger creator, 2 different channels on Google's, baby company. This is a scary company. I don't even say their name. My name rhymes with their name, and I don't even say it. That's because these guys are what they say they are. And it's scary. It says the lawsuit filed in California federal court is the third by state attorneys general to target the company for alleged antitrust violations. It says a group of 36 states and Washington, D.C. sued the Oogs on Wednesday, alleging that the company's control over its Android App Store violates antitrust law, opening a new front in regulators' attempts to rein in the search giant. The lawsuit filed in California federal court is the third by state attorneys general, and it says it also comes 9 months after the Justice Department joined 14 AGs in an antitrust suit focused on the company's use of its Android contracts with Apple, Mozilla, and of course smartphone manufacturers to leverage its control over the search market into mobile. Remember, Google is actually built into phones. It's built into all of these things. It actually comes standard. Some phones you cannot actually delete it. There's a lot of weird stuff there that's built into a lot of the new
it's
Android.
the default search on just about anything, right? You go get any device and it's the default search.
Absolutely. I mean, every phone I've got, it starts out from factory. It says, "Hey, set up your G to Google." It's scary. This company has become one of the most. It's its own government. It is more powerful than government. Like I said, there are very few countries that have the power of this company. That is incredible. So this 36 states, a lot of people are talking about that it might get bigger and that it might snowball into something else. Also, Dex, people are saying that this, if this went anywhere, it would be a big win. Why is that?
Well, I mean, part of it is to say what they could do is start to break up the monopoly. You remember we did this back in the day when you looked at something like AT&T and the Bell monopolies, right? And from that became multiple cell phone companies, multiple long distance carriers, prices came down, people had choices. It wasn't just Ma Bell as the only company out there to do telephone service, right? So if you get to a point where you start to break out some of these things, then maybe that we don't necessarily have a monopolistic control over search or over, mail or something else, right? Whatever these different areas they want to go after. And it allows for, more competition and less monopoly, right? Which is typically better for the end user.
Well, this whole scenario might, again, in this article, it actually talks about how prior it was kind of, it had a speed bump because they hit basically a judge that dismissed one of their claims. So we'll see if this goes anywhere. I think that they're so powerful they could go to each one of those 36 states and basically bribe each and every one of them to say, "Hey, can we just stop suing?" You reach the right pockets, everything goes away. Speaking of going away, Wells Fargo tells customers it's shuttering all personal lines of credit. This is a big sign that there's a lot going on with the financials right now. And I would be highly, highly alert and ready for a collapse of many things right now, including this is basically saying that they are going to stop all personal lines of credit. Even if you have credit, a personal line of credit open with them, that will be stopped right now. Wells Fargo is a huge bank. I was with them for 5 or 6 years, and I actually liked Wells Fargo for the most part, but again, they just didn't have the services that Bank of America and others did because they weren't that big. And when they had that weird scandal where they were basically opening up accounts and all that, I was like, I'm done. This is kind of freaky, and this is definitely going to, make some people shake in their boots because what the hell is going on here? Now, Dex, can you explain the difference between a personal line of credit and a credit card and that for the people that don't know?
So a personal line of credit is like you go to the bank without any collateral and you say, I need a line of credit. And if you have good credit and you have an income and they, you have a good relationship with them, they can extend, anywhere from a few $1,000s to maybe $100,000 towards you as a line of credit. It doesn't mean you're getting all that money, but you have the ability to borrow that money at any time you need it. So a lot of people will put that as an overdraft protection on their checking account. So if all of a sudden, they're having a bad month because maybe they're in sales and they have good months and bad months, well, a bad month will hit their line of credit and then they'll get it caught back up the next month when they get some commission, right? Or maybe they have an emergency and they need to do something. You can leverage that line of credit. That's what it's for, and that's going away. Now, the signal that, in my opinion, this is showing is that the banks, or this bank, which is a really big one, is making a decision now to end this tool that they have called a personal line of credit, because it's probably the most risky because there's no collateral. It's not like a car loan where they can repo a car, or your house where they can foreclose your house and then get value back out and cover the loan, right? So it's probably a sign that things aren't good. Like if things were booming and great, then they're going to want to lend all day long. Banks are in the business of lending money and storing money. So for them to start cutting the stuff back, it's probably they're seeing writing on the wall that's important to them to say, we have to start taking steps now to protect ourselves. Otherwise, they're going to be in the situation they were when we had the bank bailout, which we're not going to do again. I don't know how in the world we could do another bank bailout. That was a big deal.
Oh, whatever.
So,
We'll just keep writing checks, relief bills, and we just got to print more money. That's all. I mean, it's easy. Just print more money, right? Right?
Yeah, and we saw, absolutely. And we also saw last year, and we've seen and heard anecdotally through different banks that they have done this similar thing with credit limits on credit cards. They'll come in and start slicing down credit limits. And if you don't use it, then they're going to cut it down so they don't extend it to you anymore. So they're doing that to protect themselves. But these companies or banks didn't necessarily get rid of the credit card industry, and they're not going to, because that's part of their business. But all of these are little steps that they're doing, and maybe it's the right thing for them to do. Maybe they're being being very appropriate with how they manage their funds, because they see something that's coming in the future and they want to be better prepared for it, right? But we need to look at this and say, what does it mean? Like, yeah, if you're a customer of Wells Fargo and you use this, yeah, you're going to be pretty pissed, because now you got to figure out another way to manage your funds if you're heavily relied on a line of credit. But but what does it mean to the whole economic and the stability of the banking industry right now? And what is it going to mean to us in the near term future?
Well, we'll see, and we're going to follow it. If we see other banks follow suit in this, then we'll really be looking at this. Randy Hilgert, thank you so much for what an odd super chat. 2222. I don't know if that has any significance. Somebody, JBM says, look at the notebooks in that pic, Marf, the all-seeing eye. I did not see that, but now I do. They're saying, just kind of like the face picture from earlier. See how they did that? That is kind of, I don't know. Once you do kind of learn about some of the symbology and the Masonic stuff, it's pretty freaky, because almost all major logos, from Taco Bell to Bank of America, they all have these crazy symbols. And I mean every one of them. And it's too many to be a coincidence. It's like every last one of them. Any company that is just massive, it's like you can only surpass a certain level if you sell your soul. It's crazy. Let's see here. And then the few that don't, they stick out like a sore thumb. They're the eccentrics. All right. And then, so Wells Fargo not doing personal line of credit, that's just unnerving.
One more thing. Yeah, one more thing I want to add to that real quick, Adam. I said people rely on this and it's going away. Well, those people that rely on it are also going to be put in not just a bad position where they may have to go find another bank. They may actually start missing their payments and getting themselves into financial hardship, right? So if these types of things are going to come out and create more hardship, just like the rent moratorium, when it ends, is going to create a ton of hardship. And just like the mortgage moratorium, that I think goes through September now, is probably the latest, or October is the latest, where people could defer mortgage payments. When all of this stuff comes due, when the piper comes calling, people can't make their payments because the personal line of credit's not there to back them up. People can't make the mortgage, or they can't deal with the rent. We're going to see a lot of people that are coming into positions that are going to be pretty difficult for them, and looking for someone to help them, meaning the government.
Yeah, well, see, I did not know that now has I believe the rent moratorium got extended or something. I thought it was already ended.
It was another month, I heard. I don't know if it's through August or through July.
Well, either way, they know that there's going to be record. We've never seen in history. We've never seen the craziness that's coming. So many evictions.
And JB did the extension on the mortgage one, giving it another 6 months, which gave it a total of 18 months. So depending on when you started, you could go for as long as 18 months, but then that comes due at the end of that 18 months. You have to resolve that issue.
Yeah. And one thing, just to point this out to my viewers that might be in the spot where they are, using the rent moratorium and they haven't paid or they're behind, your landlord is supposed to give you a reasonable payment plan to pay off the additional. So say you live in Seattle, your rent is $2,000. Oh, let's just say Texas, and it's $1,000. $1,000 of rent. If you miss 6 months, then that means you owe $6,000. Well, at the end of the moratorium, you also have to pay your current rent. So then it's $1,000. They have to give you a reasonable plan. So within reason, whatever you make, if that is $200 a month, then they cannot kick you out, and they can allow you to pay that off over time. This is from what I learned from at least from my state. I was actually helping somebody figure out how they would do this, and talked to their person, and they said, yeah, it basically found out the laws behind it. You have to allow, they have to allow their tenants to pay it back within a reasonable amount of time. And if they're going through any kind of hardships, they have to take that into account. If it's a certain percentage of what they make, that has to go into it too. I know that there's Foogle family members right now that there was a period last year where there was 4 or 5 months where they didn't pay rent at all. And that means that has gone to the end, or they move out, right? But not everybody has the option to move into a new place. What if you do end up getting evicted? Well, then it's going to make it harder for you to move into your next place. Then you'll need even more money for deposit and all of that kind of stuff. So I hope everybody is planning for this. The moratorium, there's no good solution. You can't just wipe it away, because there's a lot of people that own houses, and that's their income. That's their business. That's, it's a really rough time here. And the USA is, just like the rest of the world, is the CV is going to hit us hard. It's going to hit us harder than it actually hit us for real. The effects of it going to be even worse. Exclusive. China just gave a big F you to America, hedge fund manager says. It says Kyle Bass, the hedge fund manager and outspoken critic of Beijing, says that the timing of China's crackdown on ride-hailing app Didi is no coincidence. It says, quote, the Chinese believe deeply in symbolism and numerology, Bass told CNN Business on Wednesday, banning an IPO that just went public in the U.S. with U.S. investor money on our Independence Day was like basically a big FU to the United States. Again, they banned an IPO, just went public in the U.S. with U.S. investor money on 4th of July, and they did that all at that day. It's like that was symbolism right there.
Right. So to help you understand what they did, so this company that went public in America is an international company, and a big chunk of its revenue comes from China, right? So therefore, the value of this company, is based on a lot of revenue it makes out of China. So when all of these American investors bought into the IPO because this company is a new and up-and-coming company and it's going places, et cetera, it's based on how much revenue it makes, right? So everybody invests their money, the stock goes up or down a little, whatever. It's just, trading like it normally trades based on the value of the company, on the revenue it makes. Well, when China comes out on the July 4th, just right after the IPO, and says we're banning the company to do anything in our country because they made up some whatever reasons they have, boom, it just lost like half of all of its revenue. So therefore, its value in the stock just collapses and drops. So all these American investors that had just put their money in basically got slapped hard.
Yeah. So this is part of a conflict. This is before, in fact, there were things like this before WW2, as far as just financials and cutting basically pulling the rug from out under other companies that were working together. It wasn't so much with the U.S., it was with other of our allies between our enemies. There was a lot of financial stuff that happened before too. To the people that don't think that we will have another world conflict, I don't understand how you can think that it's all going to be peaceful, and that we have two superpowers that are, like it says here, that China is into symbolism and numerology, but it's also a very strong culture as far as what they believe. And they believe they should be number one, that they should have the heavenly mandate. And they are definitely working towards being number one in every area. Even if that's what they call themselves. Maybe everybody else is like, well, you're still China, right? It doesn't matter. They're gonna build until they have the biggest Air Force. They already have the biggest Navy. They're going to have they already have the biggest army. They have 1.4 billion people, so they have no shortage of recruiting or drafting. And again, if they wanted to draft, they could draft everyone in. It's China. We did that here. Imagine what they would do. They would probably, get women and kids, whoever in there. So just think about that. They are coming, and we are going to see this. This is what's crazy about our generation is we are going to see this. Otherwise, the only way we wouldn't see one is if we all of a sudden evolve into a greater human being or something, like a type 1 civilization, and aliens come down and give us the knowledge of the birth of the universe or something. Otherwise, we're human beings with flaws, and conflict is as old as humans are. So we'll see. JBM, again, thank you. Marietta Davis, again, thank you. Total Vagabond, that Tint Goddess, I appreciate you. I think I missed you earlier. Thank you. And Kyoko Wong, love it. Thank you.
Hey, Adam, real quick, if you want, grab the article in Screener. And there was right before the show started, a 6.2
oh my gosh. So
in Northern California.
My
now
wife,
it's being reported at 5.9.
My wife told me, and it was downgraded to a 5.9 right outside of Sacramento. So let's see. Is there any pictures, and how bad did this actually end up being?
Yeah, I'm not hearing about any damage yet, but it was certainly felt all the way across Nevada, across the Bay Area. And there's obviously a lot of like 30 aftershocks, I guess, or... Yeah, 30.
Okay. Can we find out?
Obviously, some movement going on.
Can we find out if that's by any of the ticking time? The ticking time booms. There's a couple of faults. I'm trying to remember. It's not Andreas. It's a smaller fault. Can anybody in chat name that fault? It's capable of like lower 7.0, but they say that the 7.0 in this area will be so bad, and because of where it is and how it's formed, is going to be absolutely horrendous. Does anybody know it's a smaller fault, but it is one of the worst possible faults? Hayward, thank you. You got it right away. Lazaruma says the Hayward fault. Now the Hayward fault, is this anywhere close? I'm not very good at the geography of the California state. Where is Hayward from what just happened here with this 5.9? Because if this same size quake even hit that area, it would be bad because of how the ground soil is and how everything else is. This is not good. Now it says among the smaller quakes, 4 exceeded magnitude 4.0 out of the tremors that came from this 5.9. It says the U.S. Geological Survey said that it expects more aftershocks to continue after the area of a 5.9 main quake, and officials said that the quake could be part of a sequence that could have even larger quakes. So again, now you need to be careful. If you are in California or even the West Coast, I am watching out right now. Any earthquake can trigger another earthquake. They know this now. They know knowledge of antipodes. Even when I interviewed Chris Goldfinger, the lead seismologist for Cascadia Subduction Zone, he has his own TED Talk on this subject. When I interviewed him, I said on Cascadia, could Cascadia trigger Yellowstone? And in that question, he answered it like this. He goes, not 20 years ago, I would have said, you're crazy. And I said, basically, he goes, 20 years ago, I would have said you're crazy. But now, all scientists, it's not even a debate. We understand that one earthquake can not only cause a volcano, but can also cause another earthquake. So, say Cascadia Subduction Zone, a 9.0 that goes across 3 states, that's enough land to actually trigger other earthquakes. It could very well trigger San Andreas. So you're saying from Victoria, Canada, all the way down to the beginning of California, that earthquake happens, the whole North American plate goes and shifts. It could then cause the San Andreas. San Andreas could then trigger the Hayward. The Hayward could then trigger something else.
This was about 139 miles, I'm guessing, just looking on a map from the Hayward fault. Hayward runs near San Francisco.
Okay,
it's on the other side of the bay near Berkeley.
That's probably a little bit farther out. In a grand scheme of things, that's not too big, but I believe the Hayward fault is very short. It's a smaller, I want to say it's 20 miles long or something, but if you want to correct me in the chat, you can go and do so. If you know how long the Hayward Fault is, tell me in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. And then thank you again, Cynthia Lynn, for the Ninja earlier. Zippy Moons, thanks for popping in. I appreciate you coming in with... whoa! Zippy Moons just dropped a jet over on D-Live. What in the world are you doing, Zippy Moons? Crazy man. Zippy Moons, thank you so much. Cynthia Lynn, thank you so much. You guys are absolutely insane, but I do appreciate you supporting us. You are supporting independent. You know this. I don't even have to say it. Thank you. Let me get a Z in the chat for Zippy Moons. Oh, man, thank you guys. I really appreciate you. And then we've got Stormy Weather says, cyber conflict is only going to get worse. That is right. Kelly2334, thank you for being here. I appreciate you, and thank you for popping in every show. Scooby-Doo right. Truth Wins, Maui Racing Realtor, Chronaholic, I appreciate you. Sammy Lee, Global Impact is here tonight. Thank you. Thank you for supporting independent. Thank you for all of those Marfia badge holders. I do appreciate it. Okay, and then Dex, we also have some content that is kind of too hot for TV. Can you explain that?
Absolutely. Go to marfooglenews.com. Look for the thumbnail of the show. Scroll down to that web-only content. What you're going to see there is news articles and information that we have curated and we have found that we think are important for you to know, but we can't really cover on the show. Either it's too hot for TV or it's maybe two-sided, leaning one way or the other, and we try to, not do that necessarily in the main news show. So lots of stuff going on there. Some interesting things. Tucker is still in the news. Obviously, he's always in the news, but what's going on there has been interesting. Some things with Giuliani and others are in there, and go check it out. Plenty of interesting content that we can't talk about that you just need to see. I know many people have been going there. Lots of people have been checking it out. marfooglenews.com. Look for the thumbnail for the show. Scroll down to web-only content. And matter of fact, if you missed yesterday's, you should hit that one too.
Now, this is a whole nother show in itself. I'm trying to work out something to where we can go off to a separate thing and go do some of this stuff, because it is really crazy stuff. Tucker is actually on other news show. Like he just talked to Maria Bartiromo about how the NSA is possibly or allegedly spying on him personally, like his emails, his texts, his electronic communications. You got Rudy, who apparently just lost his legal license, all sorts of stuff. All of that's over there. Make sure to go check it out. Really great stuff. There's a whole nother show there. Not to mention this whole page, basically you can get all of your news, everything you could possibly absorb. You could spend hours scouring the news, or you could go to one page and see it all in one place. We do that work so you don't have to. People say, "Oh, I could just go and read the news." I could just go and read the news for myself. Go ahead. But again, if you don't want to waste hours of your time looking for all of this stuff, it's all right here. For those of you that don't watch the show and just go to the website, I appreciate you too. All right. And then again, over on the right, if you want to support us in any way, if you want to go check out NordVPN, again, NordVPN, again, is another sponsor of ours. NordVPN is a virtual private network. It's not only a virtual private network, but it's one of the best. In fact, Nord is one of the highest rated VPNs in the world. It is also one of the easiest. The reason why we picked this one over Express and all those others is because this one is so simple. We know that everybody's not a techie in the fam. All you have to do is download it, and it basically does it itself. There's even an on and off switch, just like a light switch. You flip it on, and it puts you somewhere else. If you turn it off, it goes right back. Again, this is also a tool that you can use to get out of censorship. I know that some of our friends over on DLive, we had one of our friends actually use a VPN to get her stream out of China when they were blocking all kind of social medias. So this basically hides your IP address. You can even physically put you somewhere else. So if somebody looks you up and hacks in and they go, "Oh, he's in Russia." What? but it's really in the United States. You can actually unlock geographically locked content on Netflix. If you want to see what's top 10 in France, put yourself in France. You want to see what top 10 in Djibouti is? Well, you can put it in Djibouti. The IP address. IP in Djibouti.
Quit while you're ahead.
Marfooglenews.com/VPN. Special savings code Marfoogle. Everybody, thank you, and thank you. Linda Way says, much love to the Marfoogle fam. And Adam, thank you. And Ilea says, did you hear about the kidnapping at the high school? He's okay. He's awake now. Much love, Foogle fam. I know I did not. Dex, could we pull that up before we go? I'll pull it up on the shoutro. And then there's a kidnapping at a high school, supposedly. So I would like to update that I can. PayPal, thank you so much for going over towards the show. Billy L, I appreciate you. Pam B, Cheryl W, and then Zippy Moons says, for the kiddos. Hey, thank you, Zippy Moons. I cannot say thank you enough for everybody that goes over there. You guys are amazing. Cynthia Lynn and Zippy Moons, you guys, seriously, above and beyond. Gone Girl 777, Susan Donahue, Veteran Steve, and some of the others that have gone above and beyond, for the last year. Thank you so much for supporting us. You guys have a great night. It is officially time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro. The gunman kidnapped 140 high school students in Nigeria. Holy moly. It says, from a boarding school in northwest Nigeria, a school official said on Monday, in the latest wave of mass abductions targeting school children and students, heavily armed criminal gangs often attack villages to loot, steal, and cattle and abduct people for a ransom in northwest and central Nigeria. But since the start of the year, they have increasingly targeted schools and colleges. Praying for the children over there, and I hope they are all okay. Thank you, Cynthia Lynn. I appreciate you. Zippy Moons, you two are basically right there neck and neck over on D-Live. Thank you for your support. Over on YouTube, it looks like our top supporter is Marietta Davis, tied with Granny C and Amy Z. Thank you so much. I said criminal gangs and often bang and you bring downtown and the heck say dang. Oh, I love my friends. I push each other up, cherry circle, color purple, bring it down. And I donate I 185 your booties in the Rizza and the Jillian K, Lisa, all hauling the way that they walk and they say, hey. I got the Gail Cooley and I start more play accent and I talk and granny with the Laura Griffin
fifth in the blowtorch Barbie. I got one MB and everybody scarred me. I got the knowledge on that 2020, knowledge and Chastina. Whoa. Cynthia Lynn. By a group of sheep, a baba all the way to what they can't see. I am truly surprised they can't see what the world has come to be. It's a day 62. It's a good day, it's a good day. 62, everybody knows a new way. On the A on the A on. A new name, I see a new name. Hey, with the Dex J, when Wilson. I got the Josh Perry and everybody wanna ransom. I said blue torch, Bobby. I go back now, they got me. I did everything that Bobby. I drop it. I got the actor one, I got the wet what, I got the woo woo and the loot loot. Hey, with the Jeremy James and the Dex J mix DLZ, I bay. Oh, I got it down, my HR. Master Big Chief, I got you before. Hey, make sure to say thank you to your mods. Lisa R. Hall, the most awesome, the most greatest woman in here. CJ Blaze, right up there with Geographically Free. Hey, thanks for being here. Planet X Watcher. And Netzarim. I've got the Santarina Ray Nas, Tea Party, everybody gang Nas, and Anthony Williams. Everybody wanna see it down, now. Whoa, I bring it on down, Lord. Oh, boy. Lady D music, I do it. Cynthia Lynn. 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 Cynthia Lynn.